Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com. Welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing or credit markets. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030, or via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. So, Louis, I often get the question from many listeners and emails in of, my home's not selling. What do you think the problem is? And obviously it's a hard question to answer because I need to know many other things. But overall, I think one of the biggest contributing factors of why homes aren't selling and selling kind of fast, especially if you have a normal job market, pretty strong with low interest rates, and your home's still not selling outside of, there being like a power plant next to your house or something like that, is the fact that people tend to get very attached to their home, meaning that they think before they even hire a real estate agent, they have a preconceived notion of what their house is worth. Would you agree with that, Louis?
Oh, sure. Everyone thinks their home is special and that the comparables in the neighborhood don't apply to them.
Yeah.
That their house is somehow worth more than the other houses on the block.
Right. And so they heard that Johnny 2 doors down just sold theirs for $350, but he doesn't have this, he doesn't have this, and he doesn't have this, so my house is worth $425. And so when they initially go out and they hire this real estate agent, and the real estate agent comes in with the comparables and says, well, this is really what you're looking at. This is what's sold around your area, and this is why I feel like we should price it at that. They say, you know what? No, I don't think that's right. We need to net $50,000 from this sale.
Your needs don't match what the market's going to pay all the time.
Right. And and what I try to tell all the listeners and even my personal clients is that you always have to remember that you're only going to get what the market bears. And it's most of the time not what you think the market bears. And, I can give you numerous instances where I go in and I tell the client I think it's worth $300, and they say, no, I've been living here for 15 years, and my house is worth $350. I'm not moving unless I get $350. Well,
you're not moving.
You're not moving. And the biggest thing is that in talking with clients, I always try to say, what are your short and long-term goals? Where are you headed? Are you trying to move into your dream home? Are you trying to move up so you can get more room for your family? It's important to know what your goals are. If you could care less if you're moving into another home, a new home, or a bigger home, whatever it may be, then yeah, sure, you can just probably stay there and stick it out. It doesn't mean that you're ever going to hit your number that you have in your head.
And it's important to listen to your mortgage broker and your realtor. And HomeGain does a survey that shows time and time again that people own their homes. They tell the realtor they think it's worth X. The realtor tells them, no, it's worth minus X. And then they list the price at a lower price, and then it sells for an even lower price. So there's a lot of data out there that shows that, you don't want to go through that waterfall. You kind of want to set the right price to begin with rather than to go out with these high expectations. And you also want to get your home ready for sale. We also have a survey on HomeGain.com that shows the top 10 things you can do to get your home ready for sale. So if you do have your heart set on a higher price and the realtor tells you it's not worth that much, you can get closer to your price if you take the advice that we have of the top 10 things you can do to get your home ready. You're on HomeGain.com quickly. They're cleaning and decluttering, lightening and brightening, repairing the electric and plumbing, landscaping, staging, shampooing and replacing carpets, repairing the floors, paint interior walls, update the kitchen and bathroom, and paint the exterior. And a good mortgage broker and realtor will tell you to do those things anyway.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, what you have to remember as a seller, you're trying to sell your home so that you can move and go buy another one in most cases, right? So if you sell your home at a fair price where, you're making a little bit of money, maybe it's not as much as you thought originally in your head, but you're still making money and you're going to be able to go and put another down payment on another new home, or it could be your dream home, a move-up home, whatever it may be. You then get to negotiate with that seller. And do you think that you're going to just go in and offer them full price? No, you're probably going to try to negotiate. So don't take things personal. I think I've seen a lot of transactions, things get personal where they feel like somebody's just trying to steal the house away. That's not the case.
That is the problem, though, in selling a home, because it highlights the fact it's not the same thing as an asset like a stock where you have no emotional attachment, or you shouldn't.
Right.
With a mouse click, you can get rid of it. A
Yeah.
home, you have to kind of let people come and look at your home, and you start thinking about the things that you did there over the years. So it becomes a financial and emotional transaction versus just a financial transaction.
That's a great point. And I try to, the sellers that I deal with, is to try to remove the emotion out of it, because if the end goal is that they want to move their family into a better school district, and that means that instead of, netting $50,000, they net $25,000, but they can move into that new school district and they can take advantage of the historically low interest rates right now. Guess what? At the end of the day, they're going to be very happy. And versus, waiting it out till they can net the extra 25, which might take 3 to 5 years down the road. And where will interest rates be? So, prices aren't guaranteed to continue to rise, especially in the D.C. metro area. Has it been great over the last 6 months to a year with some nice price appreciation? Absolutely. Can that continue? It can, but it doesn't mean that it will. And it doesn't mean that interest rates will remain low. There's a lot of factors that go into play. So I try to just say, let's try to achieve your goals, which if it's moving into another house, getting into a better school, maybe it's to move into a certain subdivision that you always dreamed of living in, whatever it may be, we need to find a way to get you to obtain those goals. And a lot of it is, like Lewis said, you have to try to remove the emotion out of the transaction, because if you keep it there and you're just anxiously wanting to hold on because you have a number in your head, it's not going to work out. And you're just probably wasting time even listing your house if that's the way that you're going to go about it. I would say that the majority of the clients that I work with, at the end of the day, I find out what their goals are more than anything else, because you know what? I can't do anything if I just come in there and you're just firing price, because guess what? It's probably not going to work. Price is important. And the goal of a real estate agent is to maximize the seller's profit, but it's also to get the house sold. You don't want it sitting there for 90 days and then all of a sudden having to make drastic cuts on your price, because then you're enticing buyers to come in and lowball your offer even more. And that happens more times than not. So inevitably, I would say that, one of the biggest things is just kind of try to remove the emotion out of the transaction. Look at the numbers. Look at the professional that you're working with. They're going to provide you with hopefully accurate comparables of what's sold in the last 3 to 6 months. The most current ones are obviously the most relevant there. And you really need to line up the square footage, because obviously when appraisers go out, that's one of the biggest components. They're going to be, analyzing square footage of this home compared to this home. Just because you say your house is updated and renovated, it doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a $50,000 difference in price. That's another misconception, Lewis, is that, just because you put $50,000 in your kitchen doesn't mean you're going to get it back out.
Right, and the home gain survey shows that the most expensive updates are not the one, or upgrades are not the ones that provide the best return on investment. It's the lower cost ones, basically cleaning and decluttering, lightening and brightening, staging, and so on, that provide you with a much better return on investment than putting in major upgrades. You have to remember, many major upgrades may not appeal to someone else.
Yeah.
You may like the built-in bookshelf, but maybe someone who's going to buy your house doesn't read and has no need for it.
Yeah, and it's they walk in and they see it and they're like, oh, that's nice, but it's not.
They're not paying for it.
Right, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
And you might have paid $5,000. You don't know, but you're not guaranteed to get that back out of it. So, just keep that in mind, and especially keep that in mind if you're in the process of getting ready to start doing some major renovations and you plan on moving. Because you need to look at how much money you're going to dump into the house if you plan on selling it in the next 3 to 5 years. Sometimes people get a little out of control with the renos, and, later on they're like, well, I put 60 into it. I need to get 80 to 100 back out of it. And it just doesn't work that way.
you sell it to yourself is the only way you're going to get that out of it.
Yeah, and, the goal is, like I said, Lewis, it's to help people move on with their lives. A lot of the time, I tend to see people stay in homes just because they feel like their house is worth more than what it really is, and that's all it is. That's the only thing that's holding them back. If they could
Swimming pools, wine cellars, those things may or may not have the same appeal to a potential purchaser. And you don't know who's going to buy your house, so it's best really just to set the price correct and get it ready for sale, but don't dump a lot of money into improvements.
Yeah. And, we talked about in a couple shows back, whether you should consider staging your home. All that, it might or might not be important depending upon where you live and how desirable the market is in that particular subdivision or area. But at the end of the day, the price is still very important. It's important to be competitive. It's important to be able to get people to your home to show it. A lot of the times, if agents see that a home is priced much higher than it's supposed to be, they might not even show it at all.
And Ryan, what do you think about the owner being at the home when it's being shown?
I absolutely think that the owner should not be at the home when the home is showed. I feel like it kind of makes the buyer uneasy. It makes there's a sense of, okay, well, are they hiding something? Or this guy, this person, he or she's kind of weird. Why are they showing me around the house? Isn't that the agent's job? I think that, you present the house as clean and as proper as possible. But at the end of the day, don't have the seller following the buyer around the house explaining every last thing. If the buyer wants that, they can always exchange phone numbers and do that later on. But definitely, I think that that's kind of a red flag more than anything else. So I would highly suggest, when setting up your showing instructions, that you advise the owner that if there is a call ahead required, that they go ahead and leave the house for 10, 15 minutes, however long it may be until people have time. Because a lot of time people get in there, Lewis, and they really, they have their agent in there. It lets them speak freely and open, and they're less likely to do that. They're going to tend to hurry through the home if somebody's in there.
Right.
So, I highly recommend leaving, because that means that there's a definite possibility that people will spend more time in your home. They spend more time in your home. That's a better chance of you selling that home. So that's kind of the skinny on how I feel about that, Lewis. We're coming up on a break. When we come back, we will give you more on the rental vacancy market is at the lowest point in a decade, and we'll give you those statistics when we come back. Stay right there.